So how's it going, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are gonna showcase one deck that one guy actually commented on one of my videos. I was very curious on how that deck works. So here we are. So let's get into Master Duels and let's check that deck out. So we are in Master Duels, and as you might see here, that this is my other account. So the archetype that I want to showcase to you guys is Ursarctic archetype. So the archetype in general is very unique in its own way. At first, I was really confused on why I can summon a level 1 synchro monster with my level 7 and level 8 monsters. And then I read the effects of the monsters, and well, yeah, it's actually it's actually the difference of the monsters, or the two monsters that you sacrifice to make a synchro summon that you can summon to the field. So yeah, so that's it. It's very interesting, very interesting. So what we have here is 3 Ash Blossoms, 1 Celestial, 1 Dasher, 3 copies of Mick Polar, 3 copies of Mick Thanos, 3 copies of Mick Billis, 3 copies of Mega Polar, 3 copies of Mega Thanos, and 3 copies of Mega Billis. Now for your magic and traps, 1 Regeki, 1 Salvage, just for recycling your monsters from the graveyard, 2 Fusion Destinies for your DPE package, 3 copies of your Departure, 3 copies of your Big Dipper, 2 copies of your Called by the Grave, 1 copy of your Slider. Now, in some cases, you can use 2 copies of Slider, but I prefer just running with 1, since this is case-to-case basis where negations and trap cards are pretty much useful for this deck. So with my trap cards, I went for my 1 copy of Infinite Impermanence, 1 copy of Solemn Judgment, and of course 1 Ursarctic Quint Charge. So this allows you to recycle most of your monsters from the graveyard back to your hand. So with regards to your extra deck, we have your copy of your DPE, 3 copies of Polari, 3 copies of Septentrion, 2 copies of Chariot, 1 copy of your Blader, 1 copy of your Savage Dragon, 1 copy of your Magma, 1 copy of your Baron of the Floor, 1 copy of your Supreme Sovereign, and 1 copy of your Verte Anaconda. Now in some cases, most often of times, what you'll use for this deck in general is just your synchros, and it doesn't allow you to use your Verte Anaconda to the field. But nevertheless, having your synchros on the field and using their quick effects during your opponent's turn is still pretty good. So yeah, this is it. This is just what we're gonna focus on. And with that, let's go on to the replays. So here we are, guys, on the first game, and we have a good starting hand with Thanos, Mega Thanos, 1 copy of Called by the Grave, 1 copy of Fusion Destiny, and 1 copy of Ursarctic Slider. So we'll start off with Thanos. Discard Mega Thanos, and then at this point we can't do anything else and just use our Fusion Destiny to summon our DPE to the field. We set 1 card, and then we end our turn. So at this point on, I think we're going up against a God deck. Summoning his Reactor Slime to the field, summoning 2 tokens. Use the effect of Reactor Slime. I then chain with my Call by the Grave to banish it and negate its effect. So I made a boo-boo here. I never used the effect of DPE. So yeah, nevertheless, my DP will just be summoned back to the field. So we draw into Mick Polar. Summon Mick Polar to the field. Because of my Dasher, Thrill summon my DP back to the field. So Mick Polar got a copy of Mega Polar from the deck to the hand. Thrill summon Mick Polar. Special summon Mega Polar to the field. I tried to pop that back row, but I forgot the effect of Lord of Heavenly Prison, that it protects his back row. So nevertheless, I just synchro summon into my Ursarctic Polari, and then activate my copy of Big Dipper from my deck onto the field spells zone. Activate the effect of Polari, tribute one monster from my graveyard, and summon again a copy of, what did I summon? Megatanus from the graveyard, and then I immediately synchro summoned into my Septentrion to the field. Activate Slider, sending back my Mega Polari to the field, or Mega Polar to the field. Use the effect of my Celestial, draw 2 cards, normal summon my Ash Blossom, and then for my other synchro summon my Baron the Floor to the field. So do battle phase. So at this point he uses Guardian Slime. I did negate it for my from my Baron the Floor. Prompt its effect again, draw 1 card or get a copy of his magic card. Activate his what's that card again? His Metal Reflect Slime to be spell summoned to the field. So I think from this point on he'll summon his Lord of Heavenly Prison, and then it will prompt my Septentrion since I have him on the field. He sets a copy of Fusion Destiny. So we got a copy of McPolar to our hand. McPolar? Yeah, McPolar to our hand. I use the effect of Destiny here, Destroyer, to pop that back row. And I end my turn afterwards. So that is that. So he summoned his Spear mode to the field, which is I don't really care, since I already got 7 counters max in my what you call this? This is my field spell, my Big Dipper. So I summoned McPolar to the field, get a copy of Megatanus, and then he summoned his God Slime to the field. So yeah, this card is unaffected by any card, but we'll see. So effect of Departure, send to the graveyard 1 Ursarctic monster, and then get a copy of 2 Ursarctic monster. Effect of McPolar, banish 1 card from my graveyard just to summon it. Effect, and then I summon Megapolar to the field. Summon it to the field, pop that back row. Then Synchro Summon into my Polari, and then I yeah, I got a hold of his Egyptian God Slime because of my Big Dipper. So that's game. This card, the Big Dipper, that allows you to control 1 monster from your on your opponent's side of the field, that's pretty good. So here we are in the second game, guys, and we have a Megatanus, Megabilis, 1 Fusion Destiny, 1 Departure, and 1 Infinite Impermanence as our starting hand. So let's see what we can do with this. We start off with our Departure, get 2 copies of our Ursarctic monster from the deck by sending 1 Ursarctic from our hand. Activate Megabilis to the field, spell summon from my hand a copy or 1 copy of my Ursarc monster. We then go for Synchro Summon, then Polari activates my field. Tribute, send a copy of level 7 to the field, get a copy of Megatanus, and we'll use that one during our opponent's turn. We then use our Fusion Destiny to summon our DPE, set Infinite Impermanence, and then we end our turn. Now, basically, we got a destruction card. So we have 1 card that can target 1 face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field and place it face down. So yeah, that's pretty good. And we already have 2 counters from that summoning. So at this point, so he just end his turn, just setting 2 back rows. So yeah, just effect of Megatanus to the field, So since there's no face up, he just end his turn and I can't do anything else. In my turn, I draw into my Ash Blossom, which is pretty good. Normal summon my Destiny Hero DPE to the field. Wait, I didn't normal summon. I used the effect of Dasher to summon Ash Blossom. And then I went to my Bar on the Floor. I then used my Ursarctic Septentron to the field, and then since I got more than 7 counters in general, I just stole the face down card and then go for game. So that's it. So ladies and gents, I tried using the help with the Ursarctic deck, and it didn't go well as planned, but nevertheless, here is the replay for this. So yeah, use Departure, get 2 copies of my Ursarctic monster from my deck to my hand, activate Make Polar, summon to the field, get a copy of another Ursarctic monster, activate my slider, so he'll summon to the field. So now I'm just locked into level monsters. So this is basically the usual combo for Ursarctic deck. Then Bar on the Floor to the field, and then yeah, I end my turn. So my opponent used Lightning Storm. I then negate that one, and then he just set his back row. I don't know why, but yeah, I think that's it. I think he bricked. So with this, we got a good card. Effect of Ursarctic McBillis. And oh yeah, the effect of Ursarctic magic cards. You can use these cards as tribute if they are in the graveyard, just to have your Ursarctic monsters special summon to your side of the field. So you just you don't need to use Big Dipper or any Ursarctic monster that is on your hand as tribute. So this can be used as your tribute. So my opponent is using Dark Magician. Well, nevertheless, it's okay. So that, and summon a copy of my Chariot. Pop 2 back rows. As for effect, activate my Basil Rouge Shoot. Spell summon the Red Rose Dragon from my graveyard. He then pops my monster, Bar on the Floor, which is still fine. It's still fine. So Basil Rose Dragon with my Ursarctic monster summoned Sovereign to the field. Summon my Red Rose and do some damage. So we have 6,900 damage to my opponent's life points, and I end my turn. So with my opponent, he's gonna do is use Magician's Salvation and set a copy of Eternal Light to the field, and his turn, and he's just gonna use that one, which of course, as you might see, we have only Ash Blossom for that matter. So yeah, that's it. Now there's some one instances that before doing battle, I could have just used Mictinus' effect with the help of my Big Dipper to banish 1 card from a graveyard out of play, and with that it will prompt my Supreme Sovereign's effect and just, you know, send 1 card on the field and on the graveyard out of play, and then it still be the same. But yeah, I just used Ash Blossom for formality's sake. So basically, ladies and gents, that is the deck profile for the Ursarctic deck, and I got a lot of fun for this deck. Much love for this deck. Anyways, it's very unique in its own archetype. Strong point for this deck is it's easy to go to your synchro summon monsters on your first turn, as long as you'll get the right cards on your starting hand. Downside for this deck is that you'll brick from time to time, because there are some cases that you'll have 2 monsters and then a lot of magic and traps. That is why I am using a pure Ursarctic deck, just to negate the probability of me bricking in cases. And of course, with the help of DPE into this deck, it strengthens my board for the end of my turn. So yeah, having my Septeptron, so having my Septentrion or even my Chariot on the field as my end board is not very reliable. And yes, that is some cases wherein you need to use outside help for this one, namely DPE. I'll be closing my segment here, and thank you for watching. And the guy who actually commented me, hope you like this kind of content. If you want more of this kind of content in the near future, please like and subscribe, anyone, and see you in the next video. Peace. Bye-bye.